Even though I was engaged to Frankie Pelagic, a little Polish bartender, uh, I had seen your grandpa, Jim Dana, a few times. I'd meet my folks in the bar where your grandpa was tending bar. Your grandpa had the bar because when he was coming back from fighting in the war, his dad had asked him by letter, what do you want to do when you get back? And he said, I'd like to own my own bar. I'd like to have a bar. So your grandpa bought the bar. And when your grandpa got back from the war, which he took him 6 months in the hospital for a while. Anyway, he was a bartender. And he also helped modernize. He was doing the floors, sanding them down, making it a nice place. It was kind of a dive at first. And my mother didn't like me being engaged to Frankie. And she told your grandpa, if you break up Melba's engagement to Frank, I'll give you $10. And he said, okay.
About how much was $10 back then?
Like maybe $50. Anyway, then he used to flirt with me. He had what we little halfway call, which is pretty sexy. And finally he asked me out, and I went out with him. And right away, I realized I can't marry Frankie. I like this guy too much. So I told Frankie I was sorry I had to break up with him, but I couldn't marry him feeling like I did about Jim Dana. Anyway, Jim Dana and I went together for maybe 3 or 4 months. And he was very happy, but I said to myself, he's never going to marry me. So I bought a new hat, a big brim black felt hat. It actually was open on the top so I could wear my updo hair through it. And it had big pink ostrich plumes all around it. It was a gorgeous hat. I looked beautiful in it. Probably it was a hat shading my face. Anyway, and I also bought a new dress, black silky dress that had a big black satin or black taffeta bustle sticking out in the back, and it was cute. Anyway, we went out on a date. He took me to a place. This was after we'd gone out a few times, and by then I had broken up with Frankie. I told Frankie I couldn't marry him because I liked Jim Dana too much. And when we were in the bar, and the bartender came over and asked me if I could sing, and told me I wanted to know where I wanted to dance, and bought us a drink. Well, your dad knew the bartender because he used to date the singer there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, or your grandpa, I should say that.
It's okay.
Anyway, I said, you know, this has been a great night. And he said, yes, it has. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going out with you anymore. And he said, why not? I said, because you're never going to marry me. You don't want to get married. You're just out to have fun. He says, I do want to marry you. And I said, right. And I said, think it over. He said, we'll get married tonight. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. Where will we go? And he said, Bowling Green, Ohio. So he said, I got to go home first and get something. So I got in his car. We drove over to his house. Everybody was sleeping, of course, because we just closed up his bar earlier, I think. No, we couldn't have. We couldn't have got. Anyway,
this was in Detroit, though.
It was late. Yeah, it was about 2 in the morning. And so he sneaked in the house and got a bottle with a little whiskey in. And I said, what's that for? He said, well, I haven't had a drink tonight, and I need one right now. So he took a couple of swigs, and off we drove, looking for Bowling Green, Ohio. And then when we got there, I said, what do we do now? He said, I don't know. Let's just walk here. There's lights on. Places are still open all night there. So we started walking the sidewalk, and a cab driver pulled up, zoom, and said, are you two looking to get married? Because that is a big marrying place. We said, yeah. And he said, well, come on, I'll help you. We'll take you to you got to get a license. He took us to get a license at like 3:30 in the morning. And, and he said, you need a ring. So he found a store open. I think he paid $10 for a wedding ring. It was probably 10 or something.
It was
And
the 10
then,
bucks that he got for
we
breaking
said,
up the
no,
engagement.
he said, oh, I know a guy, come on.
Hmm.
So we went over to this house, it was all dark, rang the doorbell. An old lady came out in a robe and he said, I have a couple of months to get married. She said, oh, bring them in, I'll go get Dad. And so he married us and standing in his living room, he had a bathroom on. But we had the license and all the work, so we got married. Then we had a long drive back to Detroit. And when he got up in front of my house, my mother was out in the front porch pacing back and forth. The neighbors on both sides were looking. She told everybody my Melba didn't come home all night. And I said, it's okay, we got married. And she says, Jim, Dad, I asked you to break up your marriage, not marry her. And he says, you never paid me. And that was the end of that. But that was the beginning of a long and happy marriage. We actually were married for 57 years. And we had 5 more children, even though we already had my 2 to start with. So it was a funny story, yes.